and happy new year. This is the last video of 2023. Hello everyone, my name is Tonye, the self-care maven at Freedom at the Crossroads. And yes, it's time to wrap up the new year, but first, as promised, we're going to start shifting to reset self-care for Black women in 2023. As I promised earlier, we've got a lot to talk about and a lot of things to do in order to get ready to thrive in 2023. And so, first of all, before we talk anything about changing behavior, about changing your state and all of that, and I mean everything literally starts up here in your head. You want to change your life, you want to change your your status. You want to change your life for the better. You don't want to just survive in 2023. You want to thrive. And to do that, before we get any of this going on, we've got to address the mindset. And that's why it's so important. I'm just putting my, my New Year glasses over to the side because it's time for some serious talk, sis. Look, I have already promised to go into more details about the statistics and how they are looking in terms of forecasts for, what could be the case for Black women, because right now the statistics are not good. We're going by data from, the pandemic. That's the latest data we have is, what's come out of the pandemic, 2020, 2021, early 2022. And what's important to note is this. The quick and dirty things to know is this. If you don't put yourself first, if you don't start putting your health, your wellness, your security, your whole being, if you don't start putting yourself first, it's going to be bad. Because we're in the middle of, believe it or not, yes, we are at the start of a recession. What does that mean? People are going to be heavily impacted economically. People are going to be heavily impacted in terms of housing, finances, all of this. And when you get down to it even more, why? Because when things are tight financially, when things are economically unsafe, and you have all this kind of instability and uncertainty, relationships get stressed even more. Now, according to the data that's currently out right now, a Black woman is killed in just this country alone every 4.5 hours. Every 4.5 hours. So it's not looking good. And even to that, I have to double check that 4.5 hours because I believe it's a lot more than that per hour. Ladies, I'm back and I did double check my numbers and it's 4.5. Every 4.5 hours, a Black woman is killed. As here in the US and South Africa is even higher. If you've been following, trends about what's going on in terms of femicide and violence against women and oppression of women globally, especially Black women, you know that things on the continent are equally bad, if not worse. And access to resources are even more complicated. And so when it comes to this thing called self-care, I need you to understand it is not the hashtag, especially for Black women. It is not the hashtag. That luxe life you see on Instagram or Twitter, the bougie bag, and you see if you're in Nigeria, my home country, and you see the celebs strutting their stuff and posing on all this by swimming pools and getting the facial. That's not self-care. Those are, I call those accessories. Those are indulgences. Real self-care is about empowering you to move strategically for your own health, well-being, and those around you. That's real self-care. It's radical. And it's particularly radical, especially for Black women, because we have, for centuries, we have been conditioned to carry everyone on our backs and everyone's issues on our back, whether it's social justice, whether it's somebody's child or family member picking up other people's crap, carrying it on our back, whether it's religion and religious expectations. That's why I always tell you, get off the altar of other people's expectations. And when I say other people, I'm talking about religious entities. I'm talking about cultural entities, because it's killing us. It is killing us. These are the traps that have been created by patriarchy and misogyny and all the isms that come from that toxic, violent system that has oppressed women globally, especially Black women globally, for centuries and generations, to the point that we're so traumatized and operating in that trauma, whether you know it or not, because these systems are acting on us whether you acknowledge it or not. Some deal with it better than others. Some are just caught up in the matrix. They're so disconnected that to the point of being almost robotic. You just existing. They're not even awake. Women are globally are waking up. And as a consequence of that, you're getting pushback in the form of other forms of violence against women, whether it's political, whether it's policy, cultural policy, political policy. You see what's happening in Iran, whether you see what's happening in the US, where women's rights, autonomy, rights are being stripped from them. You see it in all these things because this is pushback from women waking up. So when I tell you that self-care is not a hashtag, I am serious. But once you wake up, once you embrace it, the power to change all of this, it's mind-bending. And that is what I want you to have in 2023. I want you to have the mental capacity so that you can spiritually be in tune with Mother Earth, with the creation and your power as a woman, as a human being. You are not your womb. You are not just a body. You are power. You're a human being. And you have a purpose and a calling and passion and unique gifts that only have the power to unpack. And so my challenge today is to ask you, are you ready to move with me? Are you ready to move forward? I'm on this journey too. I'm not the end of this, and not at the end of this journey. I too had to awaken. I had to break the constraints, start breaking those constraints and those ties from culture, from generations of traditions and practices and behaviors and internalized misogyny. Yes, internalized colonization, internalized trauma, whether I wanted to admit it or not, because part of the healing, part of the awakening, part of the power comes from taking responsibility. And yes, I know everybody wants to tell Black women to take responsibility. Trust and believe. Yeah, we've been taking a lot of responsibility, even for this responsibility for other people's crap that is not even ours. It's time to let that stuff go, to release all of that, so that you can be cleansed and reclaim yourself as a human being, as a woman, as a power that is imbued in being a divine feminine being. regardless of your regardless of your spiritual beliefs, because religion is, to me, in my opinion, is indoctrination, and it's a trap for women everywhere. And that's another topic, another video, another conversation. But today, as we get ready to step into 2023, I want you to come on this journey with me, because I am on this journey. And it's not one that is easy per se, because at the start of this journey, you have to go in here. And for a lot of people, they don't want to face what's in here. They don't want to look at that mirror. They don't want to look at them. They don't want to look at themselves in these eyes. As we say back home, in their kuro eyes, they don't want to look there. Because some of us have more trauma than others. But guess what? There is power, there is healing, there is wholeness on the other side. And when you're able to stand in your power, there is nothing you can't achieve if you set your mind to it. And that's why when it comes to self-care, it's such a radical thing, because it means you're doing things like defining the way you engage with people and how you allow them to engage with you. Whether you respect yourself enough to hold people to the same standards that you have for yourself. They must, in the same way you respect yourself, you demand that they respect you as well. Whether that's your emotions, whether your perspective. However, we can all disagree. We can all have different perspectives. After all, this is a whole freaking planet, and different people have different thoughts and different ways of looking at things and all of that. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you must respect my position in order for us to engage, right? And that kind of confidence, that kind of groundedness, where you're not a crab in the barrel looking at another woman and judging her. Oh, she does this. Oh, she does that. Some of the most judgy people of other women are women themselves. Why? Because they've internalized that system of patriarchy, misogyny, and criticism that keeps that evil, destructive, violent system going over and over and over. I'll talk more about patriarchy, but today I want to keep it focused on mindset, because we're getting ready to go into 2023. Like I said before, get your journals for 2023. I've got mine. This is a journal I got from a female Black artist and businesswoman. So I bought her journal because I wanted a journal that features women that look like me. That's important, that we see ourselves. You need to be able to see yourself. And when you're able to see and visualize yourself where you are, that gives you more push, more get up and go to do that. So I challenge you to get one of these, because you're going to need it as we go through. And as I put out more videos, I'll be giving some more short teachings on video, and more of an overview of what I do with my self-care and health coaching clients. And this is a space for us to all connect here on my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Tonya Brango. I'm a women's self-care and health coach, empowering women to reclaim their health, their fitness, and their lives, and get off the altar of other people's expectations. This is a global thing. It's time to break the chain. It's time to break the conditioning. It's time to get undomesticated. And I'm hot and on fire about that, because too many of us have been trapped and stuck in that wheel going nowhere. And it's time to stop. You want to thrive. You want to see, you have this fantasy in your head of moving forward, of doing those things that you're passionate about. and then you look at your situation and you say, oh my God, I can't get out of this. How do I get out of this? How do I even think about, eating better, eating healthy? How do I think about exercise? How do I think about getting fit? Your mind is scattered. It starts with radical self-care. And radical self-care starts up here. There's a lot of reading I'm currently doing, and a lot of reading I recommend for a lot of you out there. And I will, on my next video, the first video actually of 2023, I will post a link to my virtual, because I do have a virtual, what I call my virtual bookshelf on Amazon. And it's just a collection of books that are highly recommended for women to read, deconstruct, and do that mental and internal work. Because I recognize that these are things, a lot of this stuff, this mindset work too, strongly need a therapist for. Therapy is something that Black people, Black women, Black people, period, have run away from. And, I hate to say this, but it, in my opinion, is true. Religion in Black communities collectively has done us a huge disservice when it comes to mental health. Why? Because, they preach, oh, it'll be better in the afterlife, or, oh, that's just a sign that, the Creator wants you to go through these trials and tribulations. None of that makes sense. However, we've been conditioned historically to, in order to survive, and we've been in survival mode, by the way, for way too long. In order to survive, these are the stories and mythologies we've been told. And we've internalized a lot of this crap, which has just screwed a lot of us up even more. And so that's why you have to do that kind of mental work up here first before you even begin to get to the level of, working out. Because guess what? You're going to be working out up here mentally, doing the mindset work. And these kind of readings are especially important if you don't have access to clinical therapy. We're privileged here in a lot of parts of the Western, the West here, whether you're in Europe or you're here in North America. We are privileged to be able to have better access to mental health. But I also recognize that this is not the case globally. And so if this is not the case globally, if you're in a situation where you need to do this kind of reading to break down boundaries and things of that nature, and break down your own mental situation and your conditioning to release that stuff and do the kind of healing, internal healing and work that needs to be done, read those books I have online. I'm going to be adding some more, like I said, on the next video, or you can, send me a DM, just put that in the comments. If you want the link before that video comes out, it'll come out the first week of January 2023. I'll be putting out another video for mindset work and internal mental work, prepping you, getting you ready to make that shift for self-care and, just changing and resetting your whole entire health and wellness lifestyle, all of that. I'll put the link in that video, and I'll do that not just for the first video of 2023. I'll actually do it again in the upcoming video following that. Just as a reminder, you can go to that virtual, it's my Amazon link for my virtual bookshelf, and there's a selection of books. Get started with whichever one resonates with you first, but I highly recommend that you do that. I will do my level best to see if I can get my hands on some free copies of some books, and what I'll do in that case, for anyone who signs up for my newsletter and joins my upcoming Facebook private group, I will have a raffle, and the winner will get one of those books on my virtual website, on my virtual bookshelf. You'll get one of those, a copy of one of those books for free from me, and I'll send that to you. So that's my gift to the lucky winner, whoever, you know, and it's a first come, first serve. So I'll do that periodically, have a little raffle just to encourage and, you know, and uplift, you know, everyone, because I would notice and I understand that not everybody has that kind of resource where, you know, they can just, you know, afford to invest on that level monetarily. So I just wanted to put that out there. But by and large, this is the last video for 2022. And I just wanted to come on and, you know, express to you the importance of self-care, but the mindset behind that. You've got to be willing to let go, relinquish the conditioning that we've undergone collectively as women. And this is especially true for Black women, because we have a lot of intersections, particularly when it comes to culture and religious dogma. If you're in Africa, we used to joke, you know, when I was growing up, a teen in, you know, Nigeria, we used to joke and say, and even now we still, every time we travel back, we're like, there's a mosque and a church, you know, and then there's the, you know, herbalist or whatever, just about on every corner, all preaching and in basically, you know, putting people in bondage in their mentally, in order to keep people bound and strapped down, especially women, keeping us in our place. And that's taken various forms, and it's been dressed up in different ways in terms of behavioral practices. And this is just the way it's done, or this is the way, you know, we show respect, and all kinds of crazy ass stuff that we've been indoctrinated with. And that's why I said you've got to become undomesticated. So this is not a journey for the faint of heart. If you want the hashtag self-care, you know what that looks like. It's on Instagram. Look at all those pictures of women laying by swimming pools and all of that, or eating smoothies and taking, you know, fantastical pictures. You know, that's that version. But if you want the kind that's going to empower you, where you're going to up-level your life in tremendous ways, really get beyond just surviving and actually having the mindset and the focus and the ability and the freedom to really change your life, whether that's to be an entrepreneur, whether that's to get a job, whether that's to find some other access to, if resources are an issue for you, empowering yourself and taking action in positive ways that move you forward, so that you're not a drone trapped in the matrix. That's happening here. The other stuff, the hashtag stuff, yeah, that's on Instagram. You know where to go for that. You're not gonna find it here. So that's just, you know, just to give you an FYI. So this was just, you know, a brief little intro to what it looks like when it comes to mindset for self-care. In the next video, we'll be tackling, I'll go into a little bit into the background history of the self-care movement as it was originally intended, because originally it had to do with, you know, people in high stress jobs, you know, emergency responders, people in healthcare and things of that nature. So I'll break that down a little bit, definitely much more in the next video, but that will be happening in the beginning first week of 2023. And so I want to thank you for tuning in. This is Tonya, the self-care maven, helping women everywhere look better, feel better without the pressure. You can find me on IG at Tonya Taria Health. Click on the links in my bio. You can find me on IG. You can find me on TikTok now. Follow me on TikTok as well, the self-care maven there as well. You'll find me there on TikTok. And, you know, you'll also find me on Clubhouse. So I'm on a variety of platforms. I'm also on Twitter, Taria Health. You'll find me there as well. So this is Tonya. Till next time. And yes, ladies, it's definitely a new year. Till next time. Bye-bye.